Hello and welcome to a podcast called Life Lessons Learned. I'm Ryan Brennan, and I'll be your host. Tonight we have a special treat. Loren Miller has agreed to do an interview with me. Loren is actually a co-worker here at BYU Idaho Radio. He's also a student here at BYUI, and he's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's good to have you on, Loren.
Thanks, Ryan. It's good to be here.
Life Lessons Learned is a chance to share stories with lessons learned from them. Loren, where are you from?
Boise, Idaho.
What was it like to live in Boise, Idaho?
Well, it was humbling and very simple, and it's kind of before Boise started to grow into a metropolitan.
Tell me about your family.
Well, I have two great parents and two sisters, which I am in the middle of, and our ages are spread out very far, so it's kind of like we're each individual single child syndromes. We each have our own single child syndrome because my older sister's 5 years older than me and my younger sister's 10 years younger than me.
So you're a middle child.
Yeah, I was. I have been for the last, 15 years.
What's your favorite part of being the middle child, if there is a favorite part?
Well, I'm the only boy in the family, so it kind of helps to have, my parents not compare me to, an older brother, or, it's less pressure to me to have to set an example for a little brother. So it's kind of nice being the only boy and I kind of got spoiled a little bit with, sports and going to, fun things like that, while my sisters were kind of more into staying at home.
That's pretty interesting. Before we get too along in the interview, I want to ask you, favorite general authority?
My favorite general authority is probably Spencer W. Kimball, deceased general authority. And then my second, my living, is President Eyring, which is kind of interesting because he is the nephew of President Kimball.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, we're going to listen to a sound clip from a talk called Have I Done Any Good in the World Today by Elder Henry B. Eyring.
My purpose today is to describe some of the opportunities he has provided for us to help others in need. I cannot speak of them all in our brief time together, but my hope is to renew and strengthen your commitment to act. There is a hymn about the Lord's invitation to this work that I have sung since I was a little boy. In my childhood, I paid more attention to the happy tune than to the power of the words. I pray that you will feel the lyrics in your hearts today. Let's listen to the words again. Have I done any good in the world today? Have I helped anyone in need? Have I cheered up the sad and made someone feel glad? If not, I have failed indeed. Has anyone's burden been lighter today? Because I was willing to share, have the sick and the weary been helped on their way? When they needed my help, was I there? Then wake up and do something more than dream of your mansion above. Doing good is a pleasure, a joy beyond measure, a blessing of duty and love.
Every so often it's important to ask ourselves the question, have I done any good in the world today? I think it's a good reminder by Elder Henry B. Eyring. Now, it's my understanding that you're actually a married man. When did you get married?
I got married 2 years ago, almost, just about 23 months ago.
You got married in the Boise Temple, right?
Yes, I did. My wife's from Iowa, and they don't have a temple there that's nearby, so we decided to get married in Boise, where most of my family could come.
How do you feel about being married?
Well, I feel great. I feel like I don't have to go through the roller coaster and the up and downs of dating, that, I can go on a new adventure and a new roller coaster, it's kind of like going from Lagoon in Utah, dating, where it's fun, it's great, to going to Disneyland, where it's like you're on, it's just magical.
Tell me more about your wife.
Well, she's from the Midwest, Iowa. She is a huge fan of culinary arts and is very into reading literature, and she loves trashy television shows.
Trashy television shows, huh? Tell me more about culinary arts. What's some of your favorite food to eat?
Well, I like pretty much whatever my mom and dad used to make me. And my dad's worked in the food industry, worked all levels of how food goes from a truck to basically your dinner plate. So I've been around food and the sales of food for a long time, and my favorite is probably anything that has to do with, ethnic food, like steak, like using steak to make like carne asada, or
Yeah.
using chicken and making like Thai peanut chicken dish, like just like that type of stuff. But what my wife makes, my favorite thing that she makes is meatballs, homemade meatballs.
When I served my mission, I had the opportunity to eat at a Thai food restaurant, and Thai food is really good. So you like a little bit of spice, huh?
Yeah, I actually, on my mission, I got to be part of a jalapeno eating contest in the middle of Texas.
Wow. So you served in Texas.
Yeah, it should be its own country.
Before we continue on, I want to ask, what's the best part of being married?
The best part of being married is that you're never alone. That, you might have some struggles in life, like, financial, or, you don't get chosen for an internship, or maybe you lose a family member, but you always have that support and love from the person that's, bound to you for eternity.
That must be a really good feeling.
Yeah, it's great. It's really assuring, and I have someone to come home to every night and to share my sorrows, my happiness, my joys with. Yeah.
So you talked about serving a mission. Specifically, what mission did you serve in?
I served in the Houston, Texas mission, basically the first mission in the city of Houston. Now there's 2 additional missions. It's just called the Houston mission. Yeah.
Why did you serve a mission?
Well, I didn't really, I always knew that I was going to go on one, but when between the ages of like 10 and 16, you could probably say that I wasn't, between the ages of 10 and 16, I probably wasn't like so jumped up for joy about it. But when I hit about 16 years old, I wanted to go because I just remember all the life lessons learned, right? Life lessons I learned from missionaries, and how my dad is a convert, and how missionaries helped my family have happiness. And so I wanted to do the same for others and help people, it doesn't matter what their past is like, go to overcome things, obstacles as a family, to eventually find true happiness in life.
Often in the church, we talk about happiness, but I think that sometimes people have a difficulty of actually defining what true happiness is. In your opinion, what is happiness?
Happiness to me is finding your love and your passion, and also having the things that you need, not necessarily what you want, and feeling satisfied with them, and not, I guess, seeking more. You're content with the things that God has given you, and you're not necessarily waiting for something, I guess. And when you found that what makes you full of joy and pleasure, you don't let go. And instead of like thinking it as just an accessory, you expound on it and you keep it with you and you work on it. So like true happiness is me and my wife being loving and happiness in marriage. Well, when I found my wife, I was truly happy, and instead of, playing the field and looking for other women to date, I stuck with her. Not stuck like in a negative way, but stuck with her and built a relationship. And my relationship with my wife and us being together is my true happiness.
That's pretty legit. Now, it's my understanding that you actually have an interesting story or two to share with a really valuable life lesson that you've learned.
So, I talk about missions and marriage and temples and stuff, and they all have a common theme. Is the blessings of knowing that there's a God that is our Father in heaven. And I've really come to know the existence of God probably when I was 8 years old, going camping in Idaho at, I think it was Warm Creek. I think that's what it's called, Warm Lake. I don't know what it's called anymore. I went camping every summer with my family, and my mom was 8 months pregnant with my sister, and I was a 9-year-old kid, kind of stupid, and I was playing around and ran, and I tripped, and I went headfirst into this big campfire that we had. It was about 5:30 in the evening, just before dinner, and I fell headfirst, and all I can remember is just being there and in the fire, and like it's like time stopped. And my mom ran over, sprinted over, grabbed me, and I was in the fire. I felt like I was in the fire forever. But my mom actually did it rather quickly. And I just have to think that that experience gives me the lesson that God is there. And sometimes, you're not going to have, sometimes you'll have events like that in life where your mom that's very pregnant comes and rescues you from getting burnt.
Yeah.
And it's very fascinating to me that God is there, He exists, and that was another example of it.
What a beautiful story. What a beautiful lesson. We appreciate your time and your spirit that you bring to this show, and the powerful lessons that you've learned. It's great. Once again, we thank you for being willing to do an interview on the show, and we also hope that we can have you back soon. It's been great.
Thanks, Ryan. It was a great opportunity to sit down and talk with you.
Let us always remember that God is real and that He exists. And let us always remember to be safe in all our doings. You've been listening to a podcast called Life Lessons Learned, and I was your host, Ryan Brennan. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day.